How much have you developed as a band since Shallow Bed on this album? Because your sound does feel, I saw you at the Cambridge Folk Festival, and it does feel like your sound has changed and got bigger and grander and building and haunting, and I mean, am I right?
Yeah, I think Iceland might be to blame for that. We're kind of conscious to, you know, not make the same record again. We wanted to progress and bring different things like into the band's sound, and we had a lot of toys to play with there. So like in Sigur Ros's studio, for example, there's like loads and loads of cool old synths and organs and an array of pedals, and so we just kind of went a bit crazy, and all this stuff made its way into the music that way.
Wonderful. What was your favourite new toy that you discovered working with?
Probably there was an old synth that we used that has kind of become known as the Sigur Rós synth, and they use it all the time. They had one in their studio, and it was like an old, what's it called?
It's the Yamaha SK50D. Remember that one?
I do, yes.
And we had to, when we came back, we bought one because there was so much of it on the record that we kind of needed it. So yeah, that was an addition that was directly due to Sigur Ros's influence.
Yeah, the next album might just be like a synth odyssey. So look out.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's mainly the two of you who do. So you sort of come up with lyrics, and then you're coming up with rhythms. And
Sure.
yeah, how does that relationship work? Is it a little bit like a marriage? Do you have to have time apart, days off, sandwich night?
It's quite funny. We like singing songs down the phone to each other. It's quite romantic in a way.
It used to be much more, I just wrote these acoustic songs and then did some demos with kind of programmed drums or whatever, and everyone had to kind of adhere roughly to whatever I'd come up with, and that was in the early days of Try the River. Now this record has been so much more collaborative, and yeah, I've come up with the most rudimentary parts of a song and sing them into my phone and then text it to Matt, and then he'll play something and send it back, and yeah.
I think it helps because like I guess Peter could get bogged down in like having all the responsibility to write everything, so kind of get used as a bit of a sounding board and like just kind of encourage things and get things moving along. Yeah, it works.
Let's talk about med school as well, because you did actually go to med school. I was wondering, separately to the song, has that ever come in handy when out on the road?
What normally tends to happen is people think I know what their ailments are, and they ask me, "Oh, Pete, like I've got this, I don't know what it might be, some minor illness," and I won't have the faintest idea what's. No. My advice would be go and see a proper doctor.
See a proper doctor.
Yeah.
How far did you go in med school?
I did 3 years.
That's pretty good coverage. How many do you have to do to be a doctor?
I did a pre-med and then 2
Right.
regular ones. So I had, I think, another 2 or 3 to go. And, yeah, and the band picked up and I put it on indefinite hold.
Okay. I like that. It's a definite hold. I think, you know, fathers, mothers would be glad that you've always got something to fall back on, haven't you? The world will always need doctors. So that's good. The song Med School, though, what's the thinking behind that?
It's a lot of the people I went to med school with, they have just graduated now as doctors, so I think it was just reflecting on that and the different pathways that, you know, the respective routes that myself and they have taken, and looking and seeing, well, you know, I could have been a doctor by now, and I don't think it even really passes judgment one way or the other. You know, I don't. We just take things as they come, and I don't regret leaving med school at all. Equally well, they have a stable income and a bit more of a certain future. So there are pros and cons on both sides. I think that's more just reflecting on it and exploring those ideas rather than, you know, lamenting that I'm broke.
Yeah, they can afford the tube, you can't. But hey, you're having a great time. Peter and Matt, thank you so much for coming on The Music Room. What are you going to play for us, Matt?
This song is called Med School.
Thank you.
Escape the feeling that I should not be watching today. world